good evening, everyone, and welcome to Frankton, Indiana, tonight's broadcast of 12U Town & Country State Tournament here on RTC TV4. I want to thank all the folks here at Frankton. Beautiful facility down here and getting ready to go with the 12U State Tournament. It's going to be Fairfield taking on Madison Grant in Game 1 here this evening, and then following that, Game number 2 will be Lewis Cass and your Rochester Zebras. So we're getting set to go with game number 1 here. Steve Stricker with you all week here from Frankton, and we'll get the lineups for you here now. Fairfield is going to be the visitors, and Madison Grant will be your home team here this evening. Fairfield, we're familiar with the Fairfield boys here. We saw them up at districts, came out of the district in the number 3 spot. And we'll get their lineup starting off with number 17, Garrett Stoltzfus, playing center field. Batting second, number 3, Andrew Matthews. He'll be in left. Batting third, number 26, Grady Garber. He's going to be playing first. Cleaning things up for Fairfield, number 00, Keegan Miller. He's going to be on the mound. Batting fifth is going to be number 27, Hunter Kaufman. He's playing short. Batting sixth, number 18, Brady Kirkendorfer. He's going to be extra hitting. Batting seventh, number 15, Anthony Snyder. He'll be at second. Behind the plate, batting eighth, number 6, Matthew Sin. Batting ninth, number 28, Isaac Mast. He'll be extra hitter as well. And batting 10th, number 1, Nate Bailey. He'll be playing third. And substitute available, number 51, Cole McLeod. Okay, for Madison Grant, it's going to be a new one for us. Haven't seen this team play, coming out of district number 2 as the number 2 seed. And leading off and pitching is going to be number 0, Xavier Yegi. Batting second is going to be number 5, Luke Gilman. He'll be playing short. Batting third is going to be number 10, Cole Stitt. He'll be behind the plate. Batting fourth is going to be number 14, Levi Nelson. He'll be out in center. Batting fifth is going to be number 4, O.J. Blackwell. He'll be in right. Batting sixth, wearing number 9, is going to be Hunter Rutledge. He's at third base. Batting number 7 will be number 12, Brayson Martin. He's going to be at first. Batting in the 8th slot, number 1, Brock Barnhart. He's going to be the extra hitter. Batting in the 9th spot is going to be number 6, Hayden Rutledge, playing second. Batting 10th is going to be number 30, Chad Lamb. He's playing left. And available for substitution, number 8, Luke Nelson. So that's your lineups here. They're going to read those off. So we're going to be here all week long as our signal holds, which everything seems to be running very well here so far. So, again, thank everyone here at Frankton. Nice facility up here in the press box. You can see the view here from high atop the press box behind home plate. And beautiful day. Weather is gorgeous. Looks like it's about 80 degrees. Humidity is still pretty low after that front that came through on Sunday night. Kind of gave us a little relief for the championship game over at Plymouth. So got 4 teams coming to us from our district number 1. Of course, Plymouth, the champions of the semi-state. Rochester coming in with the number 2 seed. They were the runners-up, and then Fairfield and Bremen rounding the lineup out of District 1. Coming in from District number 2, we've got Frankton as the number 4 seed. We've got Lewis Cass, who Rochester is going to be playing as the number 3 seed. Madison Grant, your number 2 seed. And number 1 seed, Mississinawa. So 8 teams here this week. We've got 14 or 15 games, depending on how that last one goes for you. So they're getting ready. They've got the Fairfield team introduced. They're going to introduce the team from Madison Grant. If you're not familiar with Madison Grant, they're in the southern part of Grant County, right across the line into Madison County, right there south of Marion. And keep an eye on the Madison Grant pitcher. He's only going to be here tonight, they say, number 0, Xavier Yegi. He's getting ready to go down to Florida to play in a showcase with a 14U team. So keep an eye on him. They say he's something special to see. So we'll see how he does tonight. Going to be starting things off on the mound for Madison Grant. So appreciate everybody for tuning in to the broadcast tonight here on RTC TV4. Thanks to everybody at RTC Communications for helping us get down here. Scott Sager back in the office, Dakota, Libby, everybody up there. So we're going to do our national anthem and get underway here from Frankton. All right, welcome back here. We're going to do a few warm-up pitches and get going here with the 12U Town and Country State Championships from Frankton, Indiana. Fairfield going to be up to the plate first. Stoltzfus, Matthews, and Garber going to lead things off for Fairfield when we get going here in just a minute. Okay, here we go. Number 17, Garrett Stoltzfus, center fielder here for Fairfield, going to step into the batter's box first. On the mound, number 0, Xavier Yegi behind the plate from Madison Grant. Number 10, Cole Stitt to start things off. And we are underway with the 2019 12U State Finals. First pitch is a strike to Stoltzfus. Oh boy, swing and a miss. So far, Yegi as advertised. That was a heater that got past Stoltzfus there. 3 pitches and out number 1. Brings up number 3, Andrew Matthews. Left fielder with Grady Garber on deck for Fairfield. Hey, Matthews able to get a piece of that, fouls it back to the fence, strike 1. That one just a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just underway here from Frankton, Indiana. Beautiful facility here at Frankton. That one in there for strike 2. So Yagi doing good work here so far. 1-2 count here for Matthews. Strike 3 for out number 2. It's going to bring up Grady Garber, first baseman, with the pitcher Keegan Miller on deck. Garber steps into the left-handed batter's box here for Fairfield. 2 outs, top of the first. That one just a little bit high for ball 1. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike now. Garber swings and misses, strike 2. Garber standing in a closed stance there. He gets a hold of that one over to third, and that bounces over, and Garber's going to be on. With a, I'm going to call that an E5 unofficially for Garber. So 1 on now here for. You don't need that. You've already saw the intro. All right, back to it. Sorry, hit the wrong button twice. 1 ball, no strikes here for Keegan Miller with Hunter Kaufman on deck. 1 on here with 2 outs. That one gets away from the catcher. Garber's going to move over to second. Two balls, no strikes here to the pitcher Keegan Miller. There's a shot over the first baseman's head. Miller's going to be in. The runner's going to round third, and the throw from right is errant. Garber scores. Miller moves over to second. Fairfield gets on the board here in the top of the first with a great hit from Miller. It's going to bring up number 27, Hunter Kaufman, with Brady Kirkendorfer on deck. That one in there for strike 1. Quickly 0-2 for Kaufman. That one away. That's going to give Keegan Miller a chance to move over to third. Kaufman with an opportunity here if he can stay alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss for out number 3, but the Fairfield team able to get on the board with 1 run here in the top of the first, and after a half inning, Fairfield leads 1-0. We're going to come back here with the bottom of the first for Madison Grant, Xavier Yagi, Luke Gilman, and Cole Stitt when we get back here in just a moment on RTC TV4. All right, welcome back here, RTC TV4, getting set for bottom of the first. Leading things off for Madison Grant, number 0, Xavier Yegi, the pitcher. On the mound for Fairfield, number 00, Keegan Miller. Behind the plate, number 6, Matthew Sin. First two from Miller, miss outside. 2 balls, no strikes. There's a shot over to short, and that's going to get through out into left field. Yegi's aboard, and he's going for 2, and he's going to be in safe at second. That's going to bring up number 5, Luke Gilman, the shortstop, with Cole Stitt on deck. No outs here in the bottom of the first. There's a little pop over to pitcher. Miller over to first. That moves Yegi over to third for out number 1. It's going to bring up the catcher, Cole Stitt, with Levi Nelson on deck. 1 out with a runner on third here for Madison Grant. There's a shot foul out of play for strike 1. No balls, 1 strike here to Cole Stitt. Swing and a miss on the outside pitch for strike number 2. Fairfield got 1 run in the top of the first. Grady Garber was able to get on, and then Keegan Miller punched him in for the RBI. Held off on that one outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Leadoff hitter Xavier Yegi stands on third for Madison Grant. That's going to be foul, so the count stays 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yegi go back to third. Stitt will come back to the plate. Everybody's set. Miller winds up, and there's a shot. That one's going to be fair. That's way out into left. Yegi will score, and in at second with a double, RBI double, is Cole Stitt. Ties things up. Still just 1 out here in the bottom of the first. It's going to bring up number 14, Levi Nelson, with O.J. Blackwell on deck. That one's a little bit outside, ball 1. Fouls that one back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner on second, Cole Stitt for Madison Grant. 1 ball, 1 strike to Levi Nelson with Blackwell on deck. There's a bouncer. Nice play there at short. Oh, what a fake there by Kaufman. Almost got the runner, and then he lost the ball. That was amazing. I'm looking for the catch at first. And Kaufman held on to the ball. He had Stitt fooled too. But unfortunately, Kaufman bobbled that ball. So runners in. Nelson at first. Stitt is still at second. O.J. Blackwell up with Rutledge on deck. There's a swing and a miss, strike 1. That's one of the neatest plays you're going to see here from a 12U team. That was a smart play. Just bobbled the ball at the last second. Would have had the out at second. There's a little dribbler over to third. Did he get it on the bag in time? And they're going to say he did for out number 2. There's a bobble over there at third by Bailey, but able to recover and get on the bag before the runner. So Nelson is at second, Blackwell at first, and Rutledge is your batter. No balls, 2 strikes here to Rutledge. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first, all tied up at 1 between Fairfield and Madison Grant. Holds off on that one just outside. Grayson Martin on deck for Madison Grant. Fouls that one back to stay alive. That one outside. Count goes 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Across the top, we got 1s. Across the bottom, we got 2s on the scoreboard. Rutledge able to foul that one back, stays alive. That one outside. Count goes full. Payoff pitch. Little poke down to first. Should be an out if he can get there in time, and he does. Retires the side. Madison Grant gets 1 back, ties things up here after 1. We are all tied at 1 between Madison Grant and Fairfield. When we come back here for the top of the second for Fairfield, it's going to be Kirkendorfer, Schneider, and Sin. Be back here in a moment on RTC TV4. All right, welcome back here, getting set for the top of the second. Coming to you live from Frankton, Indiana here. First game of the 12U Town & Country State Tournament. We are all tied with 1 apiece here between Fairfield and Madison Grant. Coming up, number 18, Brady Kirkendorfer, the extra hitter. Swing and a miss. The pitcher for Madison Grant, number 0, Xavier Yegi. Fairfield got 1 run on 2 hits in the top of the first. Kirkendorfer swings on that one, strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes here for Brady. And he swings on the high fastball, misses out number 1 for Fairfield. Brings up number 15, Anthony Snyder, the second baseman, with Matthew Sin on deck. And gets the call in the outside corner for strike 1. Shows bunt, lays one down, that's foul, strike 2. So quickly 0-2 here for Snyder. Holds off on that one a little bit high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One thing they were saying about Yegi before the game, you can see that right there. He's got a smile on his face the whole time. He's out there having fun, which is what you should be doing at this age. And it doesn't hurt that he's a very, very good player as well. So like to see that, the kids out there enjoying themselves, even though they are at a state level game, they can still have a little bit of fun here. So he gets the out. Snyder strikes out for the 5th K of the game for Yegi, bringing up Matthew Sin, the catcher, number 6. On deck, Isaac Mast. That one misses just outside. 1 ball, no strikes. This is a Fairfield team that won the whole thing last year here at the 12U level. A little bit different team than they had last year. They had a lot of the older kids, obviously, that aged out. But they did, Fairfield brought 2 teams down here last year in the 12U state, which is unheard of, qualifying 2 teams out of their district. So this is the younger of the 2 teams from last year pretty much here. And you can tell they're very talented as well. 2 balls, 1 strike here to Sin with Mast on deck. And a swing and a miss, strike 2, so 2-2 count now. Swing and a miss for out number 3. Yegi strikes out the side. He has 6 Ks on the game. And after an inning and a half, the score stays Fairfield 1, Madison Grant 1. We're going to come back bottom of the 2nd. Brayson Martin, Brock Barnhart, and Hayden Rutledge coming up for Madison Grant when we get back here on RTC TV4. All right, welcome back here to Frankton, leading things off for Madison Grant here in the bottom of the second. Number 12, Brayson Martin, the first baseman. Miller on the mound for Fairfield. That first pitch misses outside, ball one. Shows bunt. It's going to go back to the fence for strike one. One ball, one strike here for Martin with Barnhart on deck. And he fouls that one back out of play for strike two. So Martin going to have to swing away here with two strikes. Swing and a miss for out number one. Retires Martin, brings up number one, Brock Barnhart, the extra hitter, with Hayden Rutledge on deck. That one misses low for ball one to Barnhart. Miller misses that one down low. 2 balls, no strikes here for Barnhart. There's a swing and a miss for strike one. That one misses outside. Count goes to 3-1. Hayden Rutledge on deck. Chad Lamb in the hole for Madison Grant. And that's going to be a walk. First walk of the game for Miller. It's going to bring up number 6, Hayden Rutledge, the second baseman, with Chad Lamb on deck. That one way outside there for Rutledge. That one gets away, ball 2. Barnhart's going to move over to second. Miller trying to find his control here in the bottom of the second. That one's popped up. Miller does a nice job of fielding that, getting the out. Play over to third. Barnhart is safe at third. Rutledge is out for out number 2. That's going to bring up number 30, Chad Lamb, with leadoff hitter Xavier Yegi on deck. Two outs here in the bottom of the second. There's a swing and a miss. That was a nice pitch by Miller. Got him chasing one outside. There's a shot. Nice play over at short. Play over to first in time for out number 3. Good job by Kaufman over there at short for Fairfield. And the Argyles leave one on. No runs on one hit, no errors, and one left on for Madison Grant. After 2, score remains 1-1 between Fairfield and Madison Grant. When we come back here for the top of the third for Fairfield, it's going to be Isaac Mast, Nate Bailey, and Garrett Stoltzfus. We'll be back here in just a moment. You're watching RTC TV4. All right, welcome back here from Frankton, Indiana. RTC TV4 getting set for the top of the third. Isaac Mast leading things off here for Fairfield. Bunts that one back off of the fence for strike 1. Nate Bailey on deck with Stoltzfus in the hole. All tied up at 1 here after 2. Fairfield and Madison Grant both got a run in the first inning, and both of them were goose-egged in the second. Gets that one in there for a strike. Xavier Yagi on the mound here for Madison Grant in the third. Mast able to stay alive, fights that one off, back out of play. Again, able to stay alive. Count stays, no balls, 2 strikes for Mast. Mast hitting in the number 9 spot here for Fairfield tonight. Nate Bailey on deck. Be the last batter of the order. And going back up to Stoltzfus at the top. And the strikeout. Mast goes down looking. That's the 7th strikeout for Yagi of the game so far here in the top of the third. Nate Bailey. Third baseman Bailey, and then Stoltzfus on deck for Fairfield. I'm going to be just a little bit low. Beautiful night here in Frankton, beautiful park, and very nice press box up here. Thank everybody from the Frankton Little League and Town and Country League for their hospitality here, helping us get set up and ready to go. Game number 1 of the 12U Town and Country State Tournament. Bailey swings and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Nate Bailey. Got 2 games here tonight. Game number 2 is going to feature Lewis Cass taking on Rochester. Fouls that back, able to stay alive. And then tomorrow night's games, game number 3, it's going to be the home team Frankton taking on Plymouth. And then game number 4 will be the second game tomorrow. We'll see Bremen taking on the number 1 seed out of District 2, Mississinewa. Swing and a miss. Thought he might have foul tipped that, but just gets away from the catcher for out number 2. It's going to bring up Stoltzfus, the leadoff batter, as Yagi has struck out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 batters All 8 of the outs that the Argyles have gotten here in this game have been on strikeouts by Yagi. Fouls that one back off the fence. 1 ball, 1 strike. Stoltzfus struck out, as you would imagine, as most of the Fairfield team has against Yagi in the first inning. Fairfield was able to get a run. Garber was able to get a board, and Miller with an RBI single. That one misses high. 2 balls, 1 strikes with 2 outs here in the top of the third for Stoltzfus. Andrew Matthews on deck for Fairfield. That one is a swing and a miss for strike number 2. Might have foul tipped that. And there is out number 3 with the strikeout. 9 Ks for the Argyles, and Xavier Yagi retires the side here in the top of the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. After 2.5, the score stays Fairfield 1, Madison Grant 1. When we come back to the top of the order, Yagi, Gilman, and Stitt for Madison Grant. You're watching RTC TV4. All right, Xavier Yagi leading things off here in the bottom of the third for Madison Grant. Luke Gilman on deck. Miller, the pitcher for Fairfield. That one misses outside. Yagi reached on an error in the first and then scored. There's a shot over to second. Over to first in time for out number 1. Four 4-3 put out retires Yagi, bringing up Luke Gilman, the shortstop, with Stitt on deck. Gilman grounded out to the pitcher in the first inning. Comes to the plate with 1 down here in the bottom of the third. Swing and a miss, strike number 1. That one's going to be ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Miller misses outside. Count goes to 2-1. There's a shot. A little roller over to second, over to first in time for out number 2. Another 4-3 put out for Fairfield. Makes it out number 2. Going to bring up number 10, Cole Stitt, the catcher, with Levi Nelson on deck. That one's popped up. Going to be out of play for strike 1. It's going to be inside. Count goes to 1 ball, 1 strike. And see some folks pulling in here in Rochester uniforms. They're going to be up next at the conclusion of this one, taking on Lewis Cass. Rochester comes in with the number 2 seed. Out of District 1, Lewis Cass with the number 3 seed out of District 2. There's a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Stitt. Levi Nelson on deck for Madison Grant. The winner of this game will play Saturday at 1 versus the winner of the Frankton and Plymouth game, which is going to be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The loser of this game will play Saturday morning at 9 a.m. against the loser of game number 3, which is the Frankton-Plymouth game. That one's outside as well. Count goes full here for Miller. Able to get the first 2 batters to ground out to second. Trying to find that 3rd out here. There's a shot out into shallow center. Coming out. Can't make the play from second. Ball is going to drop. Almost making the play that time. Second baseman Anthony Snyder with a good play on that ball. He had a good jump. Just came up a little bit short going away. So Stitt is on with a 2-out single. It's going to bring up the center fielder, number 14, Levi Nelson, with Blackwell on deck. There's a hard hit ball, but it dies quickly, and that's going to be trouble. That sounded weird coming off that bat. I wonder if he didn't damage his bat. Play at the plate is going to be errant, so 1 run is in, back over to second. And he got him on the second effort as Nelson's foot came off. After a run does score, though, Stitt made it home. Nelson out for the 3rd out. So that's going to do it for the bottom of the 3rd. After 3, it's going to be Fairfield 1, Madison Grant 2. Coming back here in the top of the 4th, it's going to be Matthews, Garber, and Miller for Fairfield. Be back in just a moment here on RTC TV4. All right, here we go. Top of the 4th. Madison Grant picked up a run in the bottom of the 3rd. Lead 2-1 after 3. Leading things off, Andrew Matthews for Fairfield lays a bunt down. That's going to go foul. That's fouled back for strike 2 for Matthews. Xavier Yagi on the mound for Madison Grant in the 4th. Has 9 strikeouts through 3 innings. There's a shot, little dribbler. That's dying in there, and he's going to be in safe. Matthews able to beat that one out for an infield single. That one just died right there in the grass.
Number 26, Grady Garber.
So that will bring up number 26, Grady Garber, the first baseman, with the pitcher, Keegan Miller, on deck. Garber shows bunt, doesn't get the bat out of the strike zone. That's going to be a strike. Lays that one down, foul off the third baseline for strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes here for Garber. No outs, runner on first is Andrew Matthews for Fairfield. There's a shot right up the middle. They could turn 2. I don't know if they got time. And the error, they dropped the ball at second. So Matthews able to get in safely. And Garber on. So runners at first and second for Keegan Miller with Hunter Kaufman on deck. For Fairfield, this is the one you want at the plate here if you got runners on. Miller, in what we've seen, very, very talented player and smart as well. He's not going to go after anything crazy, but he's not seen a lot of pitchers like Yagi. Even though there's a lot of very, very good pitchers, Yagi's showing some really good stuff here this morning, this afternoon, I guess. There's a shot over to first. They're going to get the out, but the runners will advance. Trouble over at third. Matthews slipped and basically crawled back to third, able to get there in front of the tag. So Matthews and Garber advance. That's going to bring up Kaufman with 1 out. Kaufman showing bunt. Does get the bat out of the strike zone in time, so that's going to be a ball for Kaufman. Matthews on third, Garber on second. 1 down here in the top of the 4th for Hunter Kaufman. Oh, that one in tight. The ball gets away. And Matthews scores. And Garber got a little greedy there, thought that the Madison Grant kids weren't paying attention, and he gets tagged out. So that's out number 2. 1 run is in. Count is 2 balls, no strikes here for Kaufman now with the bases empty. That was fouled back. Strike 1. Kaufman with a swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs, nobody on. One misses outside, count goes full. On deck, number 18, Brady Kirkendorfer for Fairfield. And the strike out for out number 3. Fairfield gets the run back, and after 3.5, we're all tied up again at 2. Fairfield got 1 run on 1 hit. 1 error for Madison Grant in that inning. Nobody left on base. We'll come back here for the bottom of the 4th for Madison Grant. Going to be 5, 6, and 7. Blackwell, Rutledge, and Martin when we come back here on RTC TV4.
This will be the first tournament that we played in where a player's grandfather was not the home plate umpire in one of our games.
Batting number 4, OJ Blackwell.
All right, here we go. The bottom of the 4th, coming into the bottom of the 4th with the score all tied up between Fairfield and Madison Grant. It is 2 apiece. Leading things off, number 4, OJ Blackwell, with Hunter Rutledge on deck. Show and bunt. The pitch is outside for ball 1. Blackwell had a single in the 1st for Madison Grant. Miller on the mound here for Fairfield as we start the top or the bottom of the 4th. Be his last inning. You can pitch 4 innings at a time here. Gets that one down on the bottom part of the strike zone. Count goes to 2-1. Gets that one down there, same spot. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Miller finding his groove a little bit here. Blackwell able to stay alive, fights that one off. That one's going to miss outside, so the count's going to go full here for Miller. And the payoff pitch. Inside corner for out number 1. Blackwell goes down looking, bringing up Hunter Rutledge, the third baseman. Hunter grounded over to first for the out in the first inning. Brayson Martin on deck for Madison Grant. That one misses outside, ball 2. Three balls, no strikes for Rutledge. And Rutledge is going to walk on 4 pitches. A rare walk for Miller. It's going to bring up the first baseman, number 12, Brayson Martin, with Brock Barnhart on deck. Martin struck out to lead things off back in the second inning. Miller struggling a little bit outside here of the last 2 batters. See if he can get that ball moved back over the plate. That one a little too far in, so that's going to be 2 balls, no strikes. Ball gets away from Sin. Rutledge able to move over to second, and 7 balls in a row for Miller. See if he can get back into his groove here. Struck out Blackwell. Now he's thrown 7 balls in a row. Finds the strike zone there for strike 1 to Martin. Swing and a miss. Count goes full now. Miller fighting back here. Was a 3-0 count. Count is now full for Martin. And Martin able to get on with the walk. Second walk issued for Miller. And that's going to get a little trip to the mound here by the Fairfield coach. Talk it over with Miller. Got 1 down here for Madison Grant in the bottom of the 4th with Brock Barnhart coming to the plate. Hayden Rutledge is going to be on deck with runners at first and second. All right, so the Fairfield coach talking things over with his pitcher, Keegan Miller. Miller in his 4th inning of work here this afternoon. Trying to get out of a little jam here in the bottom of the 4th. That bunt is laid down foul for strike 1 for Barnhart. Hayden Rutledge on deck. That one's outside to Rutledge. 1 ball, 1 strike. Barnhart And that's going to be foul, just out of play for strike 2 for Barnhart. Fairfield trying to get out of a little bit of a jam. Runners at first and second, 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Been a good one here so far. Game's tied at 2. And the strikeout for out number 2 as Rutledge goes after that one outside. Or Barnhart. Sorry, I keep putting Rutledge up to bat. Barnhart goes down on the strikeout, bringing up Rutledge with Lamb on deck. Rutledge grounded out to the pitcher. And over to third for out number 3 on the 1-5 put out ends the inning. And Fairfield able to dodge a bit of a bullet as they had 2 runners on with only 1 out. Able to find those other 2 outs. And after 4, the score stays Fairfield 2, Madison Grant 2. When we come back here for the top of the 5th for Fairfield, it's going to be Kirkendorfer, Snyder, and Sin. Be back here in just a moment. You're watching RTC TV4. All right, welcome back here as we get set to go in the top of the 5th. We are all tied up at 2 apiece between Madison Grant and Fairfield. New pitcher for Madison Grant, number 9, Hunter Rutledge. Xavier Yagi went 4 innings with 10 strikeouts, only allowed 3 hits and 2 runs for Madison Grant. Leading things off here for Fairfield. In the top of the 5th, number 18, Brady Kirkendorfer, the extra hitter. Swing and a miss on that one for strike 1. Kirkendorfer 0 for 1 on the day, struck out back in the 2nd. There's a shot over to 3rd. Play over to 1st in time for out number 1. That's going to bring up number 15, Anthony Snyder, the second baseman, with Matthew Sin on deck. A beautiful afternoon here in Frankton. Just getting underway with game number 1 of the 12U State Championship on the Town and Country League. There's a bunt. That's going to be a little too hard. Play over to 1st, and that's going to be out number 2. Snyder just a little too much on that bunt. 1-3 put out for out number 2. It's going to bring up number 6, Matthew Sin, the catcher, with Isaac Mast on deck. Winner of this game will play the winner of the Frankton-Plymouth game.
They play tomorrow night at 6. And the winners will play Saturday at 1 in game number 7. Losers will play the losers of the Frankton-Plymouth game at 9 a.m. on Saturday in game number 5. So if you win this game, you get to sleep in a little bit longer on Saturday. Plus, you don't have to battle back out of the loser's bracket. That's the one thing out of doing these town and country games the last couple years here. You get down in that loser bracket, it makes it real hard to get back up there. Got to do a lot of games, especially on Saturday. There's a shot out of play. Strike number 1. 2 balls, 1 strikes for Matthew Sin. Isaac Mast on deck. Game number 2 coming up is going to be Lewis Cass and the Rochester Zebras. Count goes to 3 balls, 1 strike for Sin. And that's going to be a walk. So 1 aboard with 2 down.
Number 28, Isaac Mast.
It's going to bring up number 28, Isaac Mast, with Nate Bailey on deck. That one down in the dirt, going to get away from the catcher. It's going to give Sin an opportunity to move over to second. Again, number 9, Hunter Rutledge on the mound here in the 5th for Madison Grant. There's a shot, and coming in, making the catch is the second baseman for Madison Grant. Hayden Rutledge able to make that 3rd out. So no runs, no hits, 1 left on for Fairfield. We'll come back here with the bottom of the 5th. It's going to be Lamb, Yegi, and Gilman when we come back. All right, welcome back here, RTC TV 4, getting set to go with the bottom of inning number 5. It's been a good one here between Fairfield and Madison Grant, all tied up at 2 after 4.5. Leading things off for the Argyles, number 30, Chad Lamb. And 1 pitch and 1 out for the new pitcher, number 26, Hunter Kaufman. So one down here in the bottom of the fifth. That's going to be a ball. So Miller, the starting pitcher for Fairfield, went 4 innings. And that's going to be hit. So Yegi's going to get on with the hit by pitch. Bringing up Luke Gilman. So Gilman comes up for the second time, 0 for 2. Grounded out to first and grounded out to, or actually grounded out to the pitcher and grounded out to first. And that's in foul territory, going away, not able to make the play out there in territory is Garber. Gilman at the plate with Cole Stitt on deck for Madison Grant. Runners going. A little confusing out there. I didn't know Yegi was staying there, so I thought maybe they called him safe, but the play down from Sen, and they pick off Yegi attempting to steal. And now Madison Grant has 2 down with nobody on. Count is 2-1 for Gilman with Stitt on deck. Fairfield pitcher is Hunter Kaufman. We've seen Hunter pitch quite a bit up at Denver. Does a nice job. And that one's going to be 1-3 for the putout. So Gilman goes down, and Fairfield no runs on no hits, no one left on base. After 5, the score stays. Fairfield 2, Madison Grant 2. When we come back for the top of the 6th, it's going to be Nate Bailey, Garrett Stoltzfus, and Andrew Matthews for Fairfield. We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching RTC TV4. All right, welcome back. RTC TV4, and this has been a great game here between Fairfield and Madison Grant going into the 6th and possibly deciding inning here. Leading things off here for Fairfield in the top of the inning is going to be Nate Bailey. Takes that first pitch for a ball. Bailey's only been to the plate 1 time. He struck out back in the 3rd. one just misses for Rutledge. 2 balls, no strikes here for Bailey. Leadoff batter number 17, Garrett Stoltzfus, on deck with Andrew Matthews in the hole for Fairfield. So Bailey trying to get on here. He's got 3 balls, no strikes. And Bailey is going to walk, so the leadoff runner is aboard with the 4-pitch walk, bringing up number 17, Garrett Stoltzfus. Garrett 0 for 2, but both of those were against Yagi. Nice little bunt. That's going to be trouble. No play. Runners in safe. That was a beautiful bunt that time by Stoltzfus. So runners on with nobody down for Matthews with Grady Garber on deck. That's going to be a strike on the bunt attempt by Matthews. Trying to move the runners over here with 2 on, nobody down. It's going to be outside. There's a bouncer. That's trouble. Rutledge had some trouble with it, and the catcher not able to come up with it, and all the runners are going to be safe.
Number 26, Grady Garber.
So that's going to bring up Grady Garber with the bases loaded here in the top of the 6th and no outs. Keegan Miller on deck. Garber just foul. Got that right off the end of the bat. That almost hit Bailey down there at third. So a huge opportunity here for Fairfield in the top of the 6th with the bases loaded, nobody out. That one's going to be popped back out of play, strike number 2. Keegan Miller on deck for Fairfield. There's a shot right down the middle. One run is in, and they're going to say that the play at first was late. So everybody's going to be safe. Garber's in at first with an infield single. Bailey comes in to score. They're going to conference, and they say that he is safe. So Fairfield gets one in. Still have the bases loaded here with no outs for number 00, Keegan Miller. And if you're Fairfield, you got to like who's at the plate right now. Miller is a hitter. See what he can do here. There's a shot right up the middle. One run's going to score. Second run is rounding. Second run is in. Miller's caught in between. Now Matthews is stuck. Garber is stuck. They get Garber out. Miller moves over to third. Holy cow, what a play right there. Let me see if I can track this down. So Stoltzfus scores, Matthews scores. Garber is out, and Miller is at third. If you follow all that, the end result is the score is now 5-2 in favor of Fairfield with one out. Get that score caught up for you here in just a second. Hunter Kaufman lays down a bunt. That's going to be strike 1. Well, we got some excitement going on here in the 6th inning for Fairfield. Kaufman lays down a nice bunt. They hold the runner. Kaufman is going to be safe. And Kaufman able to distract him. So Kaufman gets in safe at second. Keegan Miller able to score. And Fairfield is just causing all kinds of havoc here in the top of the sixth.
Number 18, Brady Kirkwood.
4 runs are in for Fairfield. And the score now stands at 6-2 in favor of Fairfield. 1 out. Kaufman on second. Kirkendorfer at the plate with Snyder on deck. Take a minute to catch my breath here. There's a big swing and a miss, and Kirkendorfer strike 1. Strike 2 to Kirkendorfer. Snyder on deck. Kirkendorfer 0 for 2, struck out in the second, grounded out to third, back in the fifth for Fairfield. That one is fouled back. There's a shot, and that's going to be foul. There's a swing and a miss, out number 2. Brings up Anthony Snyder. Anthony's 0 for 2. He struck out in the second, grounded out to the pitcher in the fifth. Matthew Sin on deck. That one's going to be foul for, or bunt foul for strike 1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Able to fight that one off. It'll be foul for Snyder. Snyder stays alive again, fouls that one back out of play. And that's a shot. That's going to be out into right, and that's going to drop, and rounding third and scoring is Kaufman. Snyder all the way in at third, as there's some confusion out there in right for Madison Grant. That's going to bring up the catcher, Matthew Sin. Struck out and walked his 2 plate appearances. That makes the score 7-2 in favor of Fairfield here in the top of the 6th. Isaac Mast on deck. That one gets away. Snyder thought about it, decided better of it. Stays at third. There's a shot back to second. Nice backhand there at second for out number 3. But the damage was done in the top of the 6th. Fairfield scores 5. And after 5.5, the score is 7-2 in favor of Fairfield. Madison's Grant is going to have to make up some big ground. It's going to be Stitt, Nelson, and Blackwell when we come back here in the bottom of the 6th for Madison Grant. Be back here in just a moment. You're watching RTC TV4.
John Kaplan is watching you, and he said, he goes, the field looks awesome. I love what Steve's doing. How'd you get him down there to do the games? And I said, we just had some conversations. So he's thrilled that you're here.
Yeah.
So am I. I hope you come back for every day.
I haven't dropped any frames, so that's good. When this thing stays green and that thing stays at 0, I'm doing really good. So at one point in Denver, I dropped 600,000 frames.
Really?
58% of my frames were dropping. That's how bad it was.
How about another thing, Corey Stitt?
Hi, Boston.
All right, welcome back here. Getting going with the bottom of the 6th. Fairfield now leads 7-2 after a crazy top of the 6th, scoring 5 runs on 5 hits and 3 errors by Madison Grant. Hunter Kaufman on the mound here for Fairfield for the 2nd inning in a row. That one's fouled back off the fence. It'll be strike 1. Again, I want to thank everyone here at Frankton. What a wonderful park. They got a nice little play area over off to the side. Beautiful field. Great job by everybody. And very accommodating. Paul brought me a nice hamburger and some chips, and got a nice spread down there in the concession stand. So appreciate everything everybody's done here for me at Frankton. And there's a shot that's going to get past the third baseman out in the left field. That's going to be extra bases. Stitt is going to be in at second with a double. Lead things off here for Madison Grant. We saw it happen in the top, so there's no reason why Madison Grant can't come back and get some runs here in the bottom of the 6th. It's going to bring up number 14, Levi Nelson, the center fielder, with Blackwell on deck. And there's another one that's going to drop in left and misplayed out there in left field. Stitt is going to score, and in at second is Nelson. So good start here to the bottom of the 6th for Madison Grant. It's going to bring up Blackwell with Rutledge on deck. So an exciting 6th inning here between these two teams. After being tied at two apiece, we've got 6 runs in here in the 6th. Still no outs for Madison Grant here in the bottom of the inning. Well, that'll help things for Fairfield. What a nice play out there by Bailey. Able to snag that one for out number 1. Brings up Hunter Rutledge with Martin on deck. There's a big swing on that one for strike 1. That one's going to get away. Nelson's going to move over to third. One ball, one strike here for Rutledge. One out. Madison Grant trying to make a comeback here, trailing by 4 in the bottom of the 6th. Oh, there's a shot. Just about took out the ump. Nice reaction there, getting out of the way. And Miller able to stay focused and still make that catch. That was an amazing play, folks. Out number 2 brings up Brayson Martin with Brock Barnhart on deck with 2 down. Fouls that one back off the fence, gives the camera a little ride there. That one's going to be low. Nelson is on third. Madison Grant down to their last out, trailing 7-3 here in the bottom of the 6th. Now they're down to their last strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Martin. Stays alive, gets the nick on that. You got Lewis Cass and Rochester getting set to go here in game number 2. Well, that one gets away from Kaufman. Looked like Kaufman was trying to throw a curve or something there, and it just got away from him. And Martin staying alive. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. There's a shot, bouncer over to second and in time to first for out number 3. And the Fairfield 12U's are going to advance by a final score of 7-3 over Madison Grant. Fairfield will play on Saturday at 1 p.m. against the winner of Frankton and Plymouth. Madison Grant drops down. And they're going to play at 9 a.m. on Saturday against the loser of Frankton and Plymouth. Coming up next, it's going to be Lewis Cass taking on your Rochester Zebras here on RTC TV4. Thank everybody for tuning in to game number 1. We are switching our stream over on this for game number 2. So if you're on us on the website, you're going to have to find the game number 2, which would show up as Lewis Cass and Rochester. So we'll come back with that here in a moment. Thanks for watching RTC TV4.